All right, everybody's here again at 5:30, so we can, open the meeting, but, we always, exercise the, acknowledgement of the traditional lands. This territory is the customary and traditional land of the Moosonee people since time immemorial. We acknowledge the sacred land in which the town of Moosonee operates. Within the land protected by James Bay Treaty, Treaty Number 9, we are grateful to have the opportunity to make decisions at this table that will impact our community, Miigwech.
For the preamble, for transparency, I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded in accordance with the municipality procedures. In the event of emergency, please keep quiet in this room and use the main door.
Resolutions 2026-020. Be it resolved, this special council meeting come to order at 5:30 right on. Present, Mayor, Councilor Ryder, Councilor Tozer, Councilor Hunter, and Councilor Nackwaji. Gonna have a David Nackwaji moves the motion seconder. Armin Tozer seconds. Any discussion on opening this special meeting? If not, all in favor? Opposed, carried. Everyone has a copy of the agenda in front of them for this special meeting.
Resolution 2026-021 be it resolved that the agenda be accepted as presented last amended.
Have a mover. Susan, seconder. Xavier, moved by Susan Hunter, seconded by David Nackwaji. Are there any changes to the agenda? No, so we'll accept it as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. All right. We'll go to the next one is the disclosure of pecuniary interest. Are there any pecuniary interest to disclose?
Number 4, part 2.
Oh, okay. All right, it'll be noted. And just a small explanation.
Pomerlo redevelopment. I roll on the board.
Okay, thank you. All right, so anytime during the meeting, if you missed a disclosure that you wish to declare at that time, feel free to do so. Presentations and delegations. Now, we're here tonight on this special meeting to deal with two issues, minor variant and zoning bylaws. So we're going to start with the minor variant, and I have a reading that I have to do here. So we're going to do all of them.
It's so long.
Yeah. Welcome. There was a public hearing for one application called this evening in accordance with the Planning Act with respect to the minor variance. There are a few procedural matters that we must take care of at the outset. This is a committee of adjustment hearing. The committee of adjustment was established by council to consider applications for primary consent and minor variances. This public hearing is held in accordance with section 45 of the Planning Act for the minor variant application notice. This meeting was provided in accordance with the requirement of the Planning Act. members of the public or agency would like to be sent a copy of this decision from tonight's meeting, they must make a written request to the town. We'll now explain the purpose of the hearing tonight. The purpose of the public hearing is to inform the public of the details of a proposed minor variance application and to provide the public with an opportunity to provide comments on the proposed application. Member of the Committee of Adjustment are here to observe and listen to comments. We'll also be providing an opportunity to ask questions. After the public comments, the public hearing portion of the meeting will be closed. And then the committee can make a decision on the application. The format of the public hearing is as follows. Patrick Towns from MHBC Planning, the town's planning consultant, will provide an explanation of the proposed minor variant application. Next, the applicant will provide an overview of the application if they so choose. Next, members of the public will be permitted to provide comment on the proposed application. All those who wish to speak to the proposed application will be given the opportunity to speak. Next, members of the committee given the opportunity to ask questions for clarification on the proposed application. And finally, the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting will be closed. After the public portion of the hearing is closed, the committee can consider the resolutions to make a decision on the application. I now declare this hearing to be a public hearing under Section 45 of the Planning Act to deal with the proposed minor variant application submitted for 10 Peachtree Street. I will now call on Patrick the town's planning consultant to explain the intent and purpose of the proposed minor variance. Patrick, you have the floor. Thank you for attending tonight.
Great, thank you for having me, Your Worship, and welcome everybody. So first application, we're dealing with a minor variance at 10 Peachtree Street. Property backs onto the hospital site, and the reason why the minor variance is required is the owner and the applicant is applying for a building permit to construct a covered enclosed front addition. It's essentially an entry addition to the front of the house. Now, in this case, the existing dwelling meets the minimum required setback for the R1 zone, which is 8 meters. The existing house is 9.5 meters from the front lot line. So again, the minimum required setback from the front lot line is 8 meters. With the addition of the modest porch, I'll call it enclosed porch on the front, that setback now becomes 6.4 meters, which doesn't meet the bylaw. So it's an appropriate application to utilize the powers of the variance under the Planning Act in this case. We've reviewed the 4 tests that's covered in the planning report that was prepared on the agenda. Things we look at is parking impacted as a result of the addition? Is there still a suitable front yard and amenity space on the subject property? And then is it out of character with the general area? So in this case, we don't think it is. It's pretty common to have a front porch on the front of an existing dwelling. In this case, it's enclosed. And again, we as staff have no concerns and recommend approval of the application for Committee of Adjustment this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I will now call on the applicant to provide an overview of the proposal if they have any further comments to add. Matt, I believe you have the floor now.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, Your Worship, I'm stuck on the train. It's a little late today. Listen, I just the proposal or the purpose, I just want to, it is owned by Macon Corporation. So to make a long story, hopefully short, my daughter teaches school in Moosonee at the public school board. So the whole intent here was to purchase the house, use it, and my daughter was going to purchase it from me, my business, and live there. So just another thing about my family, we have adopted 2 Quarter Mi'kmaq boys basically 12 years ago. And so that isn't strange to my daughter. And so she has 2 foster girls through PAO that are going to be with her at least for the next 2 years. And so the whole purpose here of doing the additions, renovations to the home is so that my daughter Abby and her 2 girls, Trisha and Melody, the home is just a little better place for them with the entrance for them and for their purpose. So it's not, the purpose of the renovations is not for Macon to become a landlord in Moosonee, even though I enjoy Moosonee and heading up there right now, but it's for my daughter and her 2 girls. So I just wanted to, for the purpose, I just wanted to put that out there and clear that up.
Thank you. I now call on members of the public who wish to make comment on the proposed application. If you have comment on these applications, please rise and state your name and address for the record. Please note that the names and addresses of those individuals who speak at this meeting will appear within the meeting minutes, which are public documents. Are there any persons present who have comment on the proposed minor variant application? We don't have anybody in here. Okay. I'll move down to, I now call on members of the committee, which is the councilors. Okay, are there any questions for clarification from the councilors? Committee. Fabian? Question. Susan?
No, I don't have any questions.
Diane?
No questions.
Pardon? I have no questions. There are no questions. Are there any further information which staff may wish to provide? No? Okay. If there are no further questions or comments, I declare the public hearing closed. We will have 3 resolutions before us to make a decision on the minor variant application. Can staff please read the resolutions and the committee can vote and make a decision on each of the applications.
Resolution 2026 number 2026-2022. Application for minor variance, address 10 Fisher Street, owner Macomb Corporation, care of Matt Delandria. File number M 2026-01. The purpose of the minor variance application is to request relief from the following sections of zoning bylaw number 37-07 as amended. Based on this review of the minor variance application, it is recommended that the Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application M-2026-01 subject to the following. That a variance be approved to permit a minimum front yard of 6.4 meters for an entry addition 4.12 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum front yard of 8 meters, and that the variance only applies to the proposed addition dwelling shown in the sketch submitted with the application.
All right, and with that, I will ask for a mover. Diane moved it. Okay. Seconder, Susan Hunter seconds. Now, what we will be doing is going to be doing a recorded vote on this. So it goes back to Boblin, and she will go around and ask for a yay or a nay.
So we are now officially opening the floor for voting on the minor variance application. Who's in favor and against? Chairperson Taifua, yay or nay?
All right, yay. But I should be the one.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
All right. Member Susan Hunter, yay or nay? Yay. Yay. Member Fabian Nakuji.
Yay.
And member Diane Ryder. Yay. And member Carmen Dozer, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yes.
This, motion for variance has been carried. Thank you very much.
Seconds.
The second one.
Seconds.
Yeah, okay, we're back to the other one for the zoning, bylaw amendment. And this is the one that probably declared a conflict to including the room. Might be noted that comments on that, please.
Yeah.
Welcome. There's one public meeting called this evening in accordance with the Planning Act with respect to an application for a zoning bylaw amendment. There are a few procedural matters that we must take care of at the outset. This public meeting is held in accordance with section 34 of the Planning Act. A notice was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. This public meeting is held in accordance with section 34 of the Planning Act. A notice was provided in accordance with the requirement of the Planning Act. If a person or public body would otherwise have the ability to appeal the decision of the council of the town of Moosonee to the Ontario Land Tribunal, the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the town of Moosonee before council approves or refuses to approve the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the council of the town of Moosonee before the proposed zoning bylaw is passed, person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the option of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. We'll now explain the purpose of the meeting tonight. Purpose of the public meeting is to inform the public of the details of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment and to provide the public with an opportunity to provide comment on the proposed application. Members of the council are here to observe and listen to comments and will also be provided an opportunity to ask questions after the public comments. The public meeting will be closed. Council has an opportunity to make a decision on the application this evening. The format of the public meeting is as follows. Patrick Towns from MHBC Planning and tonight's planning consultant will provide an explanation of the proposed application. Next, the applicant will provide comments on the application if they so choose. Next, the public will be permitted to provide comments on the proposed application. All those who wish to speak on the proposed application will be given an opportunity to speak. Next, members of the council will be given the opportunity to ask questions for clarification on the proposed application. Finding the public meeting portion of tonight's meeting will be closed. If individuals wish to receive notice of the decision on the zoning bylaw amendment, please record your name, address, and telephone number on the appropriate list provided by the clerk. I now declare this meeting to be a public meeting under section 34 of the Planning Act to deal with the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application. Storage buildings on the properties known as 40 at Tim Road and 28 Butcher Road. I now call on Patrick Towns, the town's planning consultant, to explain the intent of the proposed application. Patrick, you have the floor.
Great, thank you, Your Worship, and thanks for reading those requirements under the Planning Act. This application is a zoning bylaw amendment, a little bit different than a minor variance. It's under a different section of the Planning Act, and as mentioned, it applies to two properties technically, 40 Adam Road and 28 Butcher. And it's at the end of Butcher Road, close to the railway. So the scenario in this case is the property's owned by ONTC, and it's the applicants, the renters are Pomerleau. And it's two storage buildings were constructed as part of the hospital project on the property. So the applicants are now obtaining building permits and planning approval for the buildings. Kind of the unique scenario here is that the properties actually contain two zones. So a small portion where one of the buildings is located is actually zoned R1, and so residential type 1. And the remaining property is zoned heavy industrial M2. And it is noted that the existing uses here look to be industrial over the past years historically. So I'd almost word it in a way that it's cleaning up the zoning on the subject property, because these buildings are permitted within the M2 zone. They're not permitted with the R1, but this property was always intended to be used as it appears for industrial uses. It's designated transportation and thus permits industrial uses in the official plan. So it's appropriate for the rezoning. And again, as mentioned, the buildings are there. That's always a question on these types of applications when something's constructed without planning approvals or building permits. But we don't look at that scenario. We look at the policies and the regulations at play. And again, we're recommending approval on the basis that these buildings are appropriately used in an industrial area and cited in an industrial area. And that's what our recommendation reflects in the report that was prepared for you. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. But again, we're supportive of the rezoning, and which would essentially put this entire block or these lands within the appropriate industrial zone to permit the buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Now call on the applicant to provide an overview of the proposal if they have any further comments to add. Now call on members who wish to make comment on the proposed application. Do you have comments on the application? Please.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk.
Yeah.
Or was it Cormac?
Yeah.
Sorry, did someone online want to say something?
Yes, sorry, Cormac Dunleavy here, Pomerleau Construction. I just wanted to reinforce the buildings that are being applied for, the building permit on the property. They're a temporary structure. They're only a temporary dome structure. It's our intent to decommission and take them away from the site 2030, 2031. So they're only really a temporary covered dome structure to protect hospital building material that's being offloaded from the rail. So it's very temporary. It doesn't have any deep foundation or no effect on the grading or the existing landscape. Very, very temporary scenario. Not sure if that helps the case at all, but just wanted to reiterate that. Thank you.
Very well, thank you, and I'm sorry I didn't get you on the screen there.
No problem. Thank you.
Now I call on members of the public who wish to make comment on the proposed application. If you have comment on this application, please rise, state your name and address for the record. Please note that the name and address of those individuals who speak at this meeting will appear within the meeting minutes, which are public documents. Are there any persons present or who have comment on the proposed zoning bylaw amendment? Don't see any. I now call on council members, on the members of the council. Are there any questions for clarification from council? Councillor Ryder,
I don't have any questions.
Councillor Nakaji,
No question.
Councillor Susan? I don't have any questions. So if there are no further questions or comments, I declare the public meeting closed. The bylaw will be considered by council later in the evening. Just to clarify that, is we will have a bylaw in our regular meeting that we will deal to vote on this part.
Okay.
All right, Yes, we do. So we are just putting a motion on floor to adjourn the special meeting and vote on the regular council meeting. Number 2026-023, be resolved that this meeting adjourn at 5:53. Can I have a mover, please? Susan, seconder, Sabian. Moved by Susan, I'll do a second by Sabian Nackerson. Any discussion on adjourning? If not, all in favor? Vote carried. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Patrick.
Alrighty, thanks everyone. Have a great meeting. Take care.